Are you concerned about the future for the Murdoch family in relation to News Corporation, or are you happy with the way things are?
Well, News Corp is the only real media global that has a global presence, that's involved in TV production, in movies, in publishing, in newspapers, digital media, etc. So for a company like that to function, clearly it does not depend only on Rupert Murdoch or James Murdoch. Clearly you have a CEO. You have other functions that are managed by certain people. I'm not worried about that at all, because I do interact a lot with News Corp, and I see a lot of depth at the management level at all levels.
What mistakes do you think they've made managerially in handling the scandal? Because the one thing everyone seems to be in agreement about is that they haven't handled it very well.
Well, News Corp is a conglomerate that is really so diverse, that is available in 5 continents. And if you take only the newspaper arena, among the United States, UK, Australia, and other countries, you have hundreds of newspapers that are being published. Clearly, the News of the World in the UK went out of control. And the lesson learned here is that Mr. Rupert Murdoch, James Murdoch, and the management and board of directors there, they have to have more stringent rules and regulations. They have to tighten the bolts a lot more internally, and they have to have some independent committees to manage the process. And I believe all this is in motion already, and there are lessons to be learned there. Thanks God that News World represents only 1%, as Mr. Rupert Murdoch said in the latest hearings, of the conglomerate, which is News Corp, which has been shut down now. But I hope that this thing will not affect the other entities that belong to News Corp.
You were very supportive after the parliamentary hearings of both Rupert and James's Murdoch's testimony. There are questions tonight about some of that testimony. The former editor of the News of the World and the legal manager have both claimed that James Murdoch misled Parliament in relation to some of the things he was saying. Does James and Rupert both retain your full support?
I went public by supporting Mr. Rupert and Mr. James after the hearings, because I know them very well. I know Mr. Rupert since 20 years. I know James more than 5 years ago. And I know them of being of high integrity, honesty, and honor. And I take their word for granted in front of the UK Parliament, represented by the Culture Committee. But at the end of the day, we have to let the investigation process take its procedure, and we have to see where this ends. So let's not anticipate what the investigation will come up with, and we have to wait for that.